My family insisted I wed my dad's closest pal's boy, when instead I ran off with my boyfriend. They became enraged, now they're flooding my phone. But here's the thing, I just forwarded them a snapshot from the wedding. I'm Zara, and I've been seeing Logan for nearly 2 years. We connected at our buddy Andre's regular game evenings, those laid-back gatherings where folks haul in munchies from the dollar spot and waste hours on board games. My folks are old school, not the rich sort of old school with vacation houses and club memberships, but the type where dad pulls extra shifts at his job, and mom makes every buck count at the market. They've always held this family above all vibe, which typically means dad's word is law. Logan and I have stayed our romance, under the radar near my relatives. Not precisely concealing it, but not hyping it up. Either he attends certain family DOS brings blooms for my mom, who forcefully sticks them in the kitchen, rather than the living room, and does his utmost to chat sports with my dad, who mostly just mutters back. So yesterday I arrived for our usual Sunday meal, all appears routine. Mom's prepping her renowned pot roast that she manages to extend through the full week. Dad's glued to the TV and my sister Vera is messaging on the sofa. Then I spot additional spots laid at the table, who's joining us more. I inquire of Mom as I assist with the salad. Oh, Warren and Dexter are dining with us. She replies, Warren's dad's top buddy from high school. They labor side by side. I scarcely recognize his boy Dexter, save that he's 27 and employed there as well. The meal kicks off ordinarily enough. Warren shows with Dexter, who's in a button-down, still creased from packaging. My mom keeps dishing him the prime cuts of meat all the while shooting me these odd, significant glances. Vera keeps nudging me beneath the table and popping her eyes wide, like she senses what I miss then, amid the pot roast and Mom's boxed brownies. My dad clears his voice. Zara, Warren and I've been discussing. I'm already sensing that odd knot in my gut. You know that sensation when you sense troubles brewing? Dexter, here set to commit, Warren chimes in glowing, as if revealing a jackpot, and we figured what finer pairing than linking our two clans. I almost sputter on my drink. What it adds up, my dad presses on without glancing my way. Warren and I are growing the firm. Dexter's set to assume his dad's share down the line. You both would form a solid pair. I am perched there, fork halted midway to my lips while Dexter eyes his dish, seeming as uneasy as I do. The brownie in my mouth turns to grit. I'm seeing Logan, I declare, voicing what? All at this table already realize. My mom swats her hand casually. Oh, sweetie, that's merely a youthful whim. We're discussing your prospects here. Your mother's spot on. Dad chimes in. Logan's decent enough, but he's not headed places, Dexter. Here's got a solid path in the firm. I glance at Dexter, who's still engrossed in his brownie. He hasn't uttered a syllable this whole stretch. Warren's beaming like he's cured famine, and my parents gaze at me awaiting. This is nuts, I declare. I am not tying the knot with Dexter. I adore Logan. My dad's expression shifts to that faint purple hue. This isn't regarding affection, Zara. This concerns kin and prospects. As I'm making for the exit, I overhear my dad. You got till months close to cut ties with that lad. We're revealing the betrothal at Warren's bash. I didn't utter more, just snatched my crossbody purse and bolted. Logan was parked in his ride just past the bend we'd intended to hit Walmart post-meal to snag items for his place. I climbed in the vehicle, hands trembling as I fumbled with the seatbelt. That was the day prior today, my cells exploding with texts from my mom on being sensible. And considering the clan, Vera fired off a chain of WTF messages, trailed by alerts that Dad's dead set on this. Even my cousin Opelia rang to query if it's legit. Logan and I lingered up late yesterday in his cramped studio flat chatting on next steps. We've truly been scheming to cohabit when his rental ends next month. Nothing lavish, just a modest 2-bed in the identical building where his pal Andre resides. We've been stashing cash, keeping it hushed. Now I'm pondering if we ought to hasten those arrangements. I've silenced most kin on my device, but I see the notification tally climbing. The sole one I've answered is Vera, who's vowed to keep mum that I'm crashing at Logan's this evening. I don't know my next play. I cherish my family, but this is bonkers, right? Like it's 2024, not 1825. Who even pulls arranged weddings these days, particularly over something routine as a biz? I need tips. Logan's backing me fully but claims it's my call to take. I just know I'm not wedding Dexter regardless. What sort of outlook my dad imagines it. I'll grant me first update. First off, thanks everyone for the massive backing on my prior entry. It's been 2 weeks from that bizarre Sunday supper, and I'm penning this from Logan's sofa at 1 a.m. Munching stress snacks of dollar store treats and attempting to unpack how it all unraveled so fast. Our water heater just failed and the owner's ignoring messages. So this feels like prime timing to fill you in. While awaiting the pot to boil water for a sink bath the day post, my last entry I held off till my parents headed to their jobs and swung by home to collect some necessities. I figured, quick in, quick out. But Vera was skipping her community college sessions between cramming outfits into my duffel. She clued me in on the gaps. Turns out this entire mess is far murkier than I'd guessed. The facts emerged bit by bit. Warren's venture is tanking hard. Dad's been tense over funds too. Shown by the kitchen tap that's dripped for months, this arranged union wasn't merely some offhand old-school principal's bit. It's regarding merging the outfits. They aim to leverage my dad's deals to prevent Warren's outfit from folding. Real sweet, huh? Things grew even thornier when I learned my parents had already dropped a non-returnable down payment on a wedding spot. They'd reserved it for Warren's birthday due, but evidently marked it as a betrothal fest. My mom's been flashing the agreement to all as evidence. I can't withdraw now. The spot's some posh repurposed barn that likely runs more than my 3-month earnings. The following days unleashed a non-stop barrage of ignored rings and heartfelt notes. My cousin Opelia swung by Logan's with some borrowed winter gear and spilled that my mom's been phoning the whole kin, weeping over how I'm wrecking my path. The family rumor chain is grinding non-stop. Apparently Dexter still crashes in his folks' basement and devotes most time to Fortnite. What a prize. I'm bypassing work hasn't fared better. My boss oddly trimmed my shifts after my mom rang the shop bawling about her wayward girl. I'm now hustling for shift trades just to cover rent. Logan's facing his own hurdles. His ride flunked checkup and fixes would outcost the vehicle's value. Our setup's tough. Logan's studio wasn't built for duo. We're tripping over one another nonstop, and his below neighbor gripes extra racket to the owner. The bath sink's presently stashing my full skincare setup because there's zero other space. Last night I located my mascara in the kitchen cabinet beside the instant noodles. That's the chaos level we're managing here. The money pinch is turning serious amid cut hours on the job and surprise costs. Who figured relocating needs so many odd buys? We're both sensing the pinch. I've kicked off hawking outfits on Poshmark to pad savings. Logan's grabbing stray gigs on TaskRabbit, but it's scarcely meeting basics. We've turned pros at extending food. Rice and beans are now tight pals. The mess plunged to a fresh depth when I bumped into my parents at Walmart during bargain hunts. What ensued was a spectacle right from a lousy soap tears in the cereal row claims on Clan Devotion and Fuzzy. Warnings on Warren, peddling to some major corp. We just seized our must-haves and split, but not before Mom eyed the off-brand goods in our basket and wept fiercer on how I merit superior to this existence. Today's new nightmare featured learning my parents had supposedly been socking away for my nuptials since my birth. Mom dispatched pics of the wedding savings ledger, a not-so-subtle nudge on what I'm ditching. The shame play arrived with extras of kid pics and a clip of today's wedding spot rates to amp the woe worse. Yet our targeted flat collapsed. The owner opted to lease to his kin instead, so we're reset to start Logan's rental wraps in 2 weeks, and scoring a cheap pad is tougher than hoped. His pal Andre floated his extra room short-term, but taking it seems like conceding loss, especially as Andre dwells in his folks' garage redo and his mom still handles his wash. Logan's been super steady, but I sense it's grinding him down too. Yesterday I caught him eyeing ramen packs with this beaten gaze that stung my heart. The wider kin's meddling is the roughest. My phone's always pinging with notes from relatives. I rarely spot all pros on why I'm botching. Big Vera keeps me posted on home base. Apparently Dad's now musing on excluding me from his will, which would pack more punch if there was aught to claim. When I find myself hesitating, I eye Logan, perhaps fiddling Wordle on his cell or doing that hum while scrubbing plates, and I realize I can't yield. We're not some corp fusion holdings. This is our existences, even if now those existences mean splitting one bath towel because we overlooked mine in the big getaway. For the moment we're handling it daily, flat scouting on breaks, silencing fresh digits as they appear, and puzzling our upcoming step. At least we've got one another, even if our present date eves involves scanning lease ads over nuked ramen. Second update. Hey Reddit. Some of you may recall me from my earlier share about my parents attempting to set up my union to my dad's top buddy's son Dexter. Well, plenty's unfolded in the last week, and I'm scripting this from a 45-night motel spot while noshing leftover pie and still in my $30 Amazon frock. It wasn't precisely the ceremony I fancied as a tot, but truthfully, it was ideal in its odd manner. The call to elope hit after uncovering my parents had begun mailing pre-betrothal due invites to that swanky barn locale. They snagged my sister Vera, forwarded me an image of the invite. They'd even chosen my post-wed name, and all that was the breaking point. Logan and I had chatted matrimony regardless, especially since we've cohabited the past weeks one eve while splitting a tub of nuked mac and cheese and peering at our neighbor's feline through the pane. We've dubbed her Princess, though she's not ours. We just eyed one another and knew we plotted it for a random Tuesday, not because it was unique, but because we both scored the day free from work, and the court had a slot. Andre, Logan's pal, not my dad's, consented to witness. I snagged a plain white gown from Amazon that truly appeared sharper in the shots, and Logan donned his sole decent button-up, the one sans folds the dawn of it all that could mishap. Did the zip on my frock jammed? Logan's auto made that odd sound again and refused to fire. We had to grab an Uber to the court, divvying the fare three-way with Andre because we're all skint. The cabbie kept probing why we were gussied, and we just claimed we had a court date. Technically accurate, right? The ride itself ran perhaps 10 mins, The clerk was munching her midday while handling our forms, and there was a dude in the nook wildly completing jury summons. Not exactly dreamy, but we couldn't quit beaming like fools. Andre snaps shots on his device. Most are fuzzy, but there's one solid one where Logan and I are simply gazing at each other and chuckling because I nearly fumbled the $12 band we scored. We toasted at the eatery nearby, split a platter of fries and a shake, because that's what remained in our ceremony funds. Andre pushed to cover his own, Joe saying it was his gift to us. The server tossed us gratis pie when she learned we'd just wed first luck of wedding vibes all day. Then arrived the tough bit notifying folks we opted to handle it via a basic Insta entry. Just that one fine pic, Andre captured with a laid-back note. So we did a thing. The initial reply was from Opelia, merely a line of shocked emojis. Then Vera rang at once, giggling and weeping. She was thrilled for us, but fretted the backlash, which, well, she had caused to my mom. Spotted the entry while at the market, I know, 'cause she dialed me from the lot bawling so fierce. The lot guard quizzed if she needed aid. She kept ranting on how she'd never show her mug at chapel again. How could I do this to the kin? What about the spot deposit? Dad's reply came via Vera. Evidently he hurled his cell across the space when he viewed the entry. Warren, his top pal, raced right over to their pad. Dexter oddly hearted our Insta entry and even dropped congrats, which likely didn't soothe the scene. The broader kin's take has mixed, stunned FB notes, furious SMS, and some subdued well wishes. My cousin tagged me in a TikTok on thankless offspring, real grown-up. We're now hunkering in this motel because our flat bid's still pending, and Logan's rental closed yesterday. The room reeks of stale smokes and the net keeps dropping, but it's our debut nest as wedded pair. We've been viewing random YouTube clips on Logan's cell and fetching low-cost delivery making do the wedding locale rang. Turns out my parents tried axing my betrothal bash, but still forfeited the deposit. They're evidently spinning to all. I made them reserve it, which is a crafty spin on facts. Money's still snug. We're both grabbing bonus shifts when possible, and I'm offloading more on Poshmark. The flat we bid on isn't ritzy, it's a base level 1 bed. With an odd floor plan and no washer, but it'd be ours. The lease spot said they'd notify by Friday. Vera's been our prime feed from home. Mom's evidently revamped my old space, already yanked all my snaps and such. Dad's informing all at his job that I'm in a spell. Warren's spouse keeps scheming a kin summit to mend. The oddest reply came from Dexter proper. He DM'd me saying he's truly eased because now he can at last spill to his dad on his girl. Evidently they've been an item over a year, and she's not just a caster, she's a solo parent too. Warrened never sign off. Logan and I are tackling it daily. Sometimes I rouse fretting over all we've pulled, but then Logan cracks me up by attempting to brew ramen in our Motel Pots brewer, and I recall why I picked this. It's not flawless, but it's ours. Third update. Sometimes facts arrive in the oddest forms. In my instance, it hit via a pile of wet spoiled docs I located while aiding Vera tidy our soaked cellar post last week's gale. The cellar mishap struck when Vera rang seeking aid. Mom and Dad were at a chapel event, and she was freaking on water creeping in. Logan and I motored over to rescue what we could, while shifting crates to drier spots. I spotted Dad's aged file drawer had toppled, docs scattered, mostly drenched as we sifted salvageables. I uncovered something curious: loan forms, heaps of them, all bearing Warren's mark and my dad as backer. The timelines stretched years, modest loans initially, then larger. The latest was right pre this union fuss. Some bore final notice stamps, others had due charts with skipped ticks. It was like eyeing a chronicle of Warren's biz gradually drowning. But here's the twist blended with. The loan docs were printed mails Twix Dad, and some major build firm they were keen on acquiring, both ventures, Dad's and Warren. But solely if bundled the bid was solid enough to wipe debts. And more, the snag they sought evidence of steady air planning. Basically they weren't purchasing, unless assured the biz would link long haul. That's where Dexter and I fit the ideal fix to prove the biz would remain kin-led for ages while we mulled this. Vera dug more docs. Turns out Warren had concealed the depths from all, including his spouse. He'd pledged their home twice. Sans her knowledge, my dad had vouched, all likely figuring Warren'd rebound. Sometime the true zinger, a sketch of a deal dated just pre the full marriage pitch. Warren had already begun offloading gear to meet dues. Dad was on verge of losing all he'd amassed, over 20 years, because he banked on his top pal. I snapped pics of it all, ere the damp could wreck them full. Sent them to Dexter too. He merited the heads up. His reply was just, well, that clears the haste. Evidently his dad had been prodding him to pair up for months, even tried splitting him from his girl. The next day, Opelia visited our flat hauling welcome ramen, cause that's our ritual. Now she had extra dirt. Warren's wife learned of the extra pledge and has bunked with her sis, Dexter. At last, spilled on his girl and her tot, and bunked with them. Warren crashing with his bro, supposedly to grant her room, but likely cause she swapped the bolts. Dad still won't chat me straight, but he's quizzed Vera odd bits on my fresh spot. If I'm feeling proper, that sort. Mom shifted from mad FB posts to posting miss my girl memes, which is headway, I suppose. Yesterday I got a note from Warren, just, I'm sorry I haven't hit back yet. Unsure, I shall. Logan's been stellar through this. He stays quiet on it, just hugs when I crave and cracks lame gags when I turned too grave last night. He aimed to buoy spirits by floating. We could launch our own gig, but like something easy, perhaps vending those tiny feline toppers online. We're faring fine. The flats gradually shaping up scored a true bed base on FB Marketplace. Yesterday, our upper neighbors taught drills trumpet at 7 a.m. daily, but we're adapting. I'm grabbing extra stints at the job and Logan kicked off meal drops on weekends. It's not swank, but the tabs are clearing. Vera claims Dad's been in his shed heaps lately, likely puzzling his next play. The build firm yanked their bid. When the blend tanked, she caught Mom telling her pal on the line that they may need to peddle the home, the one they've held since pre-my birth. Some of me feels blame, though I know none's truly on me. Another chunk's irked. They tried leveraging my path to patch their biz woes. Mostly, I'm just beat from the lot. Last update, I wasn't aiming to share again, but I just endured the wildest Thanksgiving trek, and I figured you all might want to hear how it wrapped post the full arranged Union saga. First, Logan and I stick in our wee flat. We at last nabbed a proper bed frame, so long airbed, and the neighbor tots shifted from trumpet to skins advance. The bonus is we learned our other neighbor toils at a furniture shop, so we got a lightly marred sofa for next to zilch. It sports an odd blot that sorta resembles Danny DeVito if you peer close, but it's cozy. The major shift hit about 2 months back. Mom began firing these peculiar miss you notes, usually deep night when she was viewing those weepy clips on FB. Then she queried if we could grab Joe. I consented, mostly because I was weary of evading her at the market. We linked at that eatery where Logan and I held our wedding toast. She wept into her Joe. I stirred my brew clumsy, and somehow we landed a real talk. Turns out Dad's biz endured scarcely. They had to shrink, flog some gear, and shift to a tinier office, but their coping Warren's outfit fared poorer. Speaking of Warren, he and his spouse are formally split. She claimed the home ultimately recall those hidden pledges. He's still bunking with his bro, who evidently has begun billing him dues. Dexter's thriving. Oddly, he bunked with his girl and her tot kicked off casting on Twitch solo and truly pulls fair coin at it. His mom told my mom he looks gladder than in years. He and Logan even play games occasional, which is strange. But sorta sweet. Dad lagged to warm the icebreaker hit, when our auto crapped out again for real. This heap's bound by wish and tape at this juncture. Logan was tinkering it in the lot when Dad just appeared. Vera had tipped Mom, who tipped Dad, and, well, he didn't gab much, just jumped in on the fix. Now they share this odd ritual of texting car care vids. Dad still chats me scant, but he'll forward Logan deals on Autobit's baby steps. I reckon Thanksgiving was the true trial Mom had been nudging for weeks. We should show. I wavered, but Logan noted. Free eats are free eats. We're still budget-strapped, so we headed. It was tense, so tense. Aunt Alice kept lobbing digs on offbeat life paths. Uncle Bob acted. We weren't present, but Vera and Opelia played blockers like aces, and Mom truly set our wedding snap on the shelf right by that. Awful 7th grade pic of me with the wires and bow clips. The shock visitor was Warren's ex-spouse. Evidently she and Mom stay pals. She hauled this killer sweet potato bake and spent most supper spilling on herself. Fine trek, and her fresh pastime. Dad seemed keen to melt into his spuds. The true peak was when cousin Andre, not Logan's pal, Andre Stay Sharp, blared his betrothal. Everyone right off dove into scheming this mega wedding, chatting spots and blooms and such. Mom snagged my gaze over the board and truly winked advance. Our flat's still compact, but we've turned it home. The band finally greened my digit, but I sorta dig. It fits our vibe. Logan's ride's still groaning that sound, but we're stashing for a fresh one. Gradual, real, gradual jobs, zilch thrilling. But we're both scraping by. Logan kicked some net classes on tech bits. I'm mulling it too, but for now, I'm just hustling bonus stints when Abel Vera drops by heaps, usually with grub from Mom. I suspect she's Mom's scout, sometimes relaying if our spot's tidy, or if we're chowing greens. But she also hauls chatter on Warren and Dexter. His girl's tot now dubs him Papa D.